Okay. So for those of you, some of you have a very good understanding of what it is that we do, and that's great. Some of you maybe need to work a little harder than other people, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because some people have a natural ability for this, but it's an opportunity for you to uh, help you with these types of problems because you may see these again on Thursday. Now remember that tomorrow, I should say, I need to remember, there's only about 7 of you here in class. Does that sound accurate? Okay. So tomorrow we won't have an exam part 1 where it's just general questions and vocab. That will be next week. Okay, probably on Tuesday, but we're going to have the part 2 portion. Okay, we're still going to have that this week because I think it is best for you to continue getting exposure to that while it's still fresh in your mind. Otherwise, we're waiting another 4 to 5 days, and I think you would agree we don't want to do it that way. It's just one of them aspects to where you students, you're doing what's expected of you, most of you, okay? And I like to think I can speak for any other faculty members and staff members. We appreciate it when you do that. If you just keep doing the things you're supposed to do, good things are probably going to happen. The freshman skit last night, very good, people. I thought it was very funny. I just wished I would have sat a little closer so I could have seen that. But arranged who goes where and who does what and what you're doing on that. Did you decide that as a class? Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Well, did you have fun? That's the main thing. Did you have fun doing your skit? Yep. Okay. The only thing I was missing was maybe a cattle prod or a whip just running behind the students. Come on, get going. Oh, you gonna do a mini? That is good. That's rich. So, so again, for some of you, if you feel very comfortable with this, you probably don't have to do this. Okay? But if you're a little unsure of yourself and feel you need this extra bit of help, now's the time. Okay? Now's your opportunity to do that. Okay? So, and we'll make sense of these questions in just a few more minutes, and then you can apply your knowledge, your vast scientific knowledge. At least we hope. Wonder how you would have got a minion up there. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Shoot, too bad I didn't know that because for Christmas I have a one of those that you put in your yard. I got one of Stewart, so it's set on the timer that clicks and fills up or fills up with air, whatever. So, but are we missing any? I got to look at the roster. I think we do have some people gone. So let me quickly take a peek. One. Okay. All right. 3, 8, 14, 19, 23. Okay. Yep, that's right. Okay. So, for those of you who enjoy watching sports, hockey really isn't one of my sports that I care to watch. Some of you, maybe yes, maybe no. But the difference between hockey and many other sports, for instance, college basketball, that's something I enjoy watching throughout the season. And should a team that has the ball that's down by 1 point, okay, they might get the shot that they want, okay, and there's only 5 seconds left. But should that shot be just leaving the fingertips, the buzzer goes off, and the ball goes through the hoop, does that count? Yes. Yes, it does. As long as it leaves the fingertips before the buzzer goes off, the basket's still good. Kind of like same with football last night, for those of you who may have got home in time to see the end of New Orleans and Houston. Did anyone see that game? There were 2 seconds left, okay? So just enough time to snap the ball, and New Orleans kicker boots it 56 yards. And it looked like he could have put another 5 yards on there. Not 5 yards, maybe 4, which is still another 12 feet or so, which is pretty astounding. But it's indoors, which is going to make a difference. You don't have many outside forces or winds acting upon that. But snaps the ball, 2, 1, goes off. Time has expired, but the ball's still going and goes through the uprights. New Orleans wins. But hockey, on the other hand, is a little different. Okay? So it could be such a thing. I think it was the Boston Bruins and the St. Louis Blues who were in the Stanley Cup. Does that sound right for anyone who follows hockey? Okay. So let's say during the end of a hockey game, the Bruins, they're going to pull their goalie because they're going to want to have another offensive player. But sometimes what can happen is that might not be a good idea because your goal is open, your opponent can then score. But in this case, the Blues take a shot on a breakaway. In other words, we see there's 3.45 seconds left. They're making their way down towards the goal. Then from 39 meters from this goal, a shot is taken. That shot is taken with half a second left. Okay? So, what do you suppose you're doing in this problem? If you see a velocity, how do you know you're dealing with a velocity? Because it's dealing with meters per second, okay? And if we have a distance, 39 meters, moving at that speed, okay, we want to determine, is that goal going to be, did you get him? Oh, we're talking about two different things. That's okay. You know, one of the things we're talking about in anatomy and physiology is dietary proteins. So should you have gotten that fly, maybe you're running a little low on protein. Just take that fly. Flies are good protein, aren't they, Mr. Hoth? I think so too. How many people maybe going in the military? Smart people go to the Air Force. That's where smart people go. But if you're going to be a fighter pilot, you're going to laugh at this, maybe. But I do believe it's part of the training for fighter pilots to take a course in entomology. Does anyone think they know what entomology is? What about bugs? Yeah, you're studying insects. It might be a pretty good idea that if you're a pilot that's been shot down and you had to bail the plane and you're behind enemy lines, it might be a good idea to know what bugs you can and can't eat. That might be a good idea. So I think the future's set. We see our next F-18 Hornet pilot. Don't look down at the calculator. You want to be a fighter pilot? No? No? You sure? I'm trying to make the most of it, right? Yeah, because you know what bugs to eat and what not. Flies you can eat. All right. So anyway, getting back to this. What do you suppose we're trying to solve for here? Whether the goal is going to be, does the puck reach the goal before the buzzer? Does anyone think they have the answer? Okay, well, okay, regardless, what we want you to do is once you have read this problem, what should you do next? Write your information down, okay? So, what do we know in this problem? Well, we do, but we're not going to use this time in the problem, okay? In other words, what we're trying to solve for is if that puck is moving at that speed from that distance, what does it have to be in regards to half a second? It has to be small, like 0.49 or lower. That goal is going to be good, okay? But if it's 0.51 or higher, it's not going to be good. So, what is our speed then, our velocity? Okay, what else do we know? Okay, so now again, we're comparing to this. This is just saying how much was on the clock, how much time was on the clock when they did their breakaway. Okay? Because one of the things that we want to teach you as critical thinkers is deciding what information is relevant and what are we trying to solve for. Okay? And that's something that you will, we hope, get better at as you get older. Some of you maybe are very good at it. Maybe some of you maybe need to work a little more. If being in band was easy, everyone would do it. If football was easy, everyone would do it. If being in volleyball was fun and easy, everyone would do it. If cross country was fun and easy, everyone would run. But it's not for everybody. Okay? But this, believe it or not, we're trying to make you a critical thinker and more prepared for when you take your next step, being that critical thinker out in society or on to college. So, how are we going to solve for that time? What formula will you use? Okay, so what does that velocity formula tell you to do? Okay, so what it says is we're going to take the velocity. So where does that go in this equation, the left or the right side? It goes on the left side. We got 62.30. So what's on our right side? Okay, so should we put that up or down? Okay, so here's our distance, 39, and what goes below? Question mark, x, y, t, whatever variable it is you want to do. Because remember, we're comparing it to this answer. Okay? So, if you get it to this point, how many of you are maybe a little unsure of what to do next? Maybe some of you are. The best thing to do, get rid of your fraction and get it into a linear equation. And how can you do that? We put it over 1. And once you do that, what can we do now? We can cross multiply. So in other words, a number times a variable gives you what? Okay? So 62.30t equals, so if we cross multiplied here, what do we do with the other two numbers? 39. Gives you, you're going to cross multiply there as well. Okay? So I'll rewrite that. So you got 62.30 equals 39 over t. Okay? So now we cross multiplied here. We're going to cross multiply there. So our time is what? Okay, so when we do that, we're going to divide by 62.30 on both sides. They're gone because they cancel, so the time is what? 0.6? Okay, time equals 0.63 seconds. So what does that tell you about the goal? It was too late. Because the speed that puck is moving and the time on the scoreboard are two different time frames. Okay? You you can't relate what's up on the scoreboard to how fast that puck is moving. No, what it would say is it's 0.13 seconds late. Okay? Did that answer your question? Okay. But yeah, we can't use 0.5 on there because that's just saying how much is on the clock, not how much speed is involved in how fast that puck is moving. Those are two totally different concepts. Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, you can do it that way too. But I would suggest you don't do it that way. Okay? To me, this is easier. Okay, well, there again, if everyone did things the same way, heck, I think it'd be kind of boring. Well, that's what Tegan's doing. So, I suppose, as long as you answer the question, whatever floats your boat. Okay. Can we close the door on this? Yeah, close that. Okay. 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 So, this next problem, okay? Then we'll wrap things up for today. Okay. So, whether it's a white shark, great white, tiger, mako, hammerhead, whatever, they're going through their predatory mode looking for food. Okay, so it spots this first seal up on the surface. So what does it mean when a shark breaches the waters? Anybody know? Comes shooting up from the bottom, and you see the first seal clenched in their jaw, and down they go. It means it's what? Right, right. In other words, it comes shooting out of the water. You want to shut them two windows, please? Okay. So, I guarantee you're going to see something like this on your exam. Guaranteed. Okay? So, for those of you who are choosing to do this, you're probably going to help yourself out a lot. But that's just simple choices. Okay? All right. So, you've read the problem. What is the next thing that you should do? Just like everything else, write down what you know. And again, it's not always going to tell you this is your force. That's a little later on. This is your momentum. This is your acceleration. This is your time. This is your velocity. Okay? You determine that by the label of the answer. So, what do we know in this problem? Okay? So, what's the time? Okay? What else do we know? I heard acceleration. How do you know you have an acceleration? Okay, so that is this guy right here. Okay? Okay, so do we only have one velocity, or is there two, or what have you? There's only one. So where do we know our velocity is? Okay, 11.7. Now, according to how this question is written, what was the speed of the shark when it spotted the seal? Okay, so in other words, the seal is up here on the surface. The shark is down here. So we want to know, well, how fast was it moving down here when it was swimming? Okay, well, we don't know. But what we see happening here, if we have this variable, which this tells you this is a what? That this is a momentum, Okay, so 8475 kilograms per meter over second. Okay, then it says with this momentum at a speed of 11.7. So therefore, that tells you which velocity is tied into the momentum, the initial or the final. Final. And it even has that in your equation. It says P equals mv, therefore this is the final velocity. So what we want to find out is how fast was it moving initially? Well, for one, we don't know that, okay? But can we solve that problem? Yes, we can, okay? Is there any information in there that we would not use? Yeah, this has nothing to do with the equation or the problem, okay? So again, we're just throwing some of these extra numbers in there, okay? And it's not we're trying to, we got them tricked now. A lot of times when we're telling you to write these things down, those of you who are doing it, you're helping yourself out. Those that don't, that's probably not a good idea, okay? So, what would the next step be that we would want to do? How can we solve for this? Where do we see an initial velocity? Acceleration formula. So how do we take this information and solve for an acceleration? Or not, it's initial velocity, sorry. So 3.10. So why would we put that there? Because that's your acceleration equals
11.7 minus question mark.
and that's all over what? Okay, so just like our last example, how can we get rid of this fraction? We can put it over 1 again, okay? So upon doing that, what happens when you take 1 times 11.7? 11.70. But we also have this function. What are we doing with the initial velocity in regards to, we're subtracting, okay? So we've got minus VI. We cross multiplied here. What do we do with these two numbers? Okay, but we got this equal sign, and upon doing that, what do we get? 9 point, okay, whatever. Some of you say 9.765, some, well, we're going to go with 9.77. All right. How do we get this initial velocity all by itself? Because you correctly said, what function are we doing? We're subtracting, okay? But how do we get this guy all by itself? What type of number or integer is this? It's a positive value. So if this is positive, how do we get rid of that? We're going to subtract that. So we're going to take 11.70. And upon doing that, what do these two numbers do? They cancel. That leaves negative VI. And what's on the right-hand side? And so if we subtract it on this side, what do we do to this side? Okay? And we'll get what value? Negative 2 point. Negative 1.93. Is that a problem, having a negative velocity? in this case, no. What it's a negative initial velocity. So they do. You can say we're dividing by -1 or multiply by -1, and that does what to these values then? Changes them to a positive. Okay. All right. This portion of your exam on Thursday. We got a lot of distractions going on. If you have any questions, we're certainly more than willing to help you if you take that initial step. You have to take that initiative. But anyway, left outside. Are we good? Left middle. 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 Right middle. Right outside. So we're nodding our head yes, so you're telling me that you understand this, or you feel you do at this point. Okay. One of the things that you can do to help, can I erase this? One of the things that you can do to help yourself out. All right. Okay. One of the things you can do to help yourself out. How many of you you're walking out to your car? There's a $5 bill on the ground. Well, it's free money. It doesn't belong to anybody. It just blew in from somewhere. But how many of you would just keep on walking? I don't want that free money. Who doesn't want free money? Nobody? Okay. So chances are you'd pick it up. Okay? Because it belongs to you because you found it. Okay? It's a way of helping yourself out. Okay? So on a separate sheet of paper, not on any of these problems, if you choose to do this, okay, these have to be turned in on Thursday. Okay? And it's a personal choice. You don't have to do this. All right? So, I think that's how you spell that. Just double check. Anyway, we will catch up to you next time.